Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. A real pleasure to be with you here in beautiful Venice. Maybe you could begin with a brief introduction to your film, Through the Night. What can people expect?
A lot of emotions, intense emotions, I think, and to cry a little bit, and to laugh a little bit at the beginning, and a lot of romanticism and lyricism.
And I know you've worked on a documentary before. It's your first fiction feature film. How did you come up with the idea, and why did you want to delve into this genre, particularly for your first film? Where did the idea come from?
There was already a bit of fantasy in my documentary, and the violence and tenderness were already conveyed in this movie, and that's something we can find in this fiction as well, I think. Why the genre cinema? It's because genre cinema, I really love the intensity of emotions and sensations. It allows to exacerbate situations, to put some romance and lyricism in the story, in the film. But also, it allows you to put some distance between you and a reality that can be very cruel and even more cruel than in a horror movie, for example. You understand? And it allowed me to put some distance between my personal life and experience and this story. And because it comes from a drama that struck my family, and it filled me with anger and a feeling of injustice. And I didn't know how, I had to tell it. I had to tell this story, and I didn't know how to do so. And genre cinema became an obvious solution.
And yeah, like you're kind of perhaps referring to there, it's to do with your family life and your brother, is that right? And kind of how you could think about some of the issues that have arisen from that, and how you could put them into a film, perhaps as a way of kind of getting under the skin of those.
Yeah, like when my brother was young, he would see vampires come into his room and talk to him. And he became obsessed with these creatures. And I think he felt a special connection. He grew up, well, he was born different. And I think he felt a special connection with those fragile monsters whose condition is invisible at first sight. And so you can associate these touching but scary creatures with teenager ill-being, depression, difference, or certain kind of disabilities, and that's what interested me to tell with this movie. And you can also summarize the film like that. It's a story of a young man with the symptoms of the vampire, with vampirism, who dreams to become a man, but whose society pushes to become a vampire. Yeah.
And of course, there's a long tradition of specifically vampire films. Coppola's Dracula, even things like Blade. I don't know. But there's also other films that perhaps deal with kind of the outsider or the monster, like Edward Scissorhands. So other films like that. So how perhaps would you take reference from other films within the genre, or particularly within the vampire genre? And how did you want to kind of take those, but also put your own spin on it?
Of course, I watched a lot of vampire movies, but actually my main references were monster movies and exclusion movies, like The Fly from Cronenberg, Edward Scissorhands, because from Tim Burton, because it's one of the most sensitive movies about disability. David Lynch, Elephant Man, also. And films like Donnie Darko, Virgin Suicides for the dark romanticism, or even Parasite from Bong Joon-ho for the jubilant tone. And what interested me was to talk about an innocent monster. And in this film, it's almost a case study. It's like it's a young man who has the symptoms of the vampire, but the problem is how you interpret these symptoms and how you close him into his condition. You trap him into his condition, and
And I guess also this idea, which is also prevalent in films like Edward Scissorhands, of kind of the picture perfect suburban lifestyle, and but also about conformity and how actually, how does a community react when they have somebody who doesn't conform? And that's an interesting way to also reflect on our current society, perhaps.
Yeah, it's a very important point in this movie. This suburb, it's very quiet. It's neat and tidy. It's there are a lot of smiles. It's very solar as well, but it's almost too perfect. It's strangely perfect. It's strangely quiet. And I wanted, I'm really inspired also by Shirley Jackson. And just like her, what interests me a lot is how conventional world conceals violence, and what kind of violence behind the smiles and the social conventions.
Like simmering underneath the surface, or there can be,
Exactly. How social conventions dissimulate violence or barbaric, and to reverse appearances, to put appearances the other way around.
And tell us about your casting process, and how did you decide who you wanted in your film, and how did you work with them?
Well, the cast, first Philemon. Mathias Amon-Legout is someone who has never played before, and he wasn't in any movie. And it was, that's when the magic happens. You really, I was so worried about this actor, and I needed to find someone who was very special. And he appeared in this cast, and Mathias, he has the mystery, the softness, the contained anger that I needed for this character. A magnetism. He's handsome as well, but a bit strange, a bit intimidating, and he has a trueness in his way of playing that is amazing. He was really able. He doesn't imitate life. He really goes into his memories and his feelings to become or to compose the character. That was amazing to work with him. Really, yeah. And Élodie Bouchez, Jean-Charles Cliché, amazing actors as well. I really like Élodie. She's a very moving. She's able to convey a lot of emotions, and I really loved in Élodie. She has almost a childlike voice, very soft voice that contrasts with her force, with her strength. And I really needed that for this character of the mother who is capable of everything to protect her son, but who is exhausted. It's a family, this family, they are like exhausted fighters. And Jean-Charles Cliché, I really needed someone who would convey the trust, sympathy. And he's, this father who is like I don't know, he tries to save face while everything is cracking inside his family. And he was very great for that.
And in terms of how you wanted the film to look and feel, how would you characterize your style, and what might have been some of the hardest scenes, and on the flip side, the ones you most enjoyed making?
I really loved the violent scenes, the love scenes I really loved. It was so almost very easy. There is also Céleste Brunkel, who is a great actress, and she's the couple, she plays the neighbor with Philemon, with Mathias. And both are very romantic and sensual, and they put some light into the movie, and I needed that. For the casting, we really tried to test couples, and we tested it with the car scene, that is filled with silences, filled with tension, erotic tension. I needed some sensuality in this movie as well. And any love scene was, I don't know, very, very easy, very nice to do. Action scenes were very exciting, very challenging, but exciting as well. There was a challenge everywhere. We had a dog, we had blood, we had violence, we had love scene, like sex scene with two young actors. We had a very young daughter, very young actress. Yeah, and the sun, like the light, was a very difficult thing because we really we needed sun every day for a 5-week-long shooting. And the shooting was very, very short. So that was the main challenge, like meteo and the duration of the shooting.
And ultimately, what do you hope people take away from watching the film? Because obviously there's always, when you're watching a genre film, the excitement of being immersed in a slightly fantastical world, outside of our own. But like you say, there are these themes that bubble to the surface, how we treat people who are different from us, what might be some of the themes and takeaways?
That would be great. It would be amazing if people could get out of the cinema and wonder what would have I done if I had been them. Someone told me that she was really projecting herself in the mom situation, like in this family, and wondering how can I do myself? Like I feel powerless, just like this family feels powerless. It moves me to say that. And if people can feel what it is like to be a family who tries everything to make a different son happy, and because it's this story, the impossible integration of an abnormal son and his family. And so if people can a bit feel this experience and wonder what could have I done, or how would have I reacted to that situation. And it was important for me as well that the neighbors, I don't judge them. They have reasons to react the way they do, and our humanity is made with light and darkness, and fear makes us do a lot of wrong things. And I wanted to convey gray zone.
And obviously, you'd gone to Papua New Guinea, right, to do your documentary, and this was bringing you back home doing a fiction film. What would you say, like the contrast between those two types of filmmaking, or perhaps you see that one actually complements the other, and what might you want to do next? More documentary, more fiction, maybe both?
I think I would continue with both, but documentary, what is amazing is that you really get to be in immersion, like to meet a lot of people and different worlds that you would have never, you would not meet in other circumstances, and that's really enriching, and then really there is a trueness in that, and it's something that I miss in fiction. But fiction, I don't know, it's like imagination, and it's another way of telling stories. And actually my next project, it's a mix of both, because it's like a fiction in Papua New Guinea. You can't change yourself, Always a very difficult and challenging project.
And finally, what does it mean to you to have your film here at Venice Film Festival?
It's so moving, it's amazing. I'm very proud and very moved. But what is the most important is the life that it allows for the film, like how it allows the film to be seen. And yesterday it was the première mondiale, and so many people, and to see the emotion in their eyes and the applause that were quite long, and it's great. It's something any filmmaker loves to live. Yeah.
Living the dream.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all that with me, and really enjoy the rest of the time here in Venice. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.